6 things you should know about building and construction to own real estate. Oftentimes we have clients who come to us and say, we don't necessarily know a lot about buildings or construction. Do I need to know that in order to own real estate? Well, you don't need to know all about those things, but you certainly need to know a few things about basic building operations and a little bit of construction in order to be a good real estate owner. So here's 6 key things that you should understand. Number 1, know how the basics relate to the numbers. So for instance, if the property is an apartment building that has electric baseboard heat, it's great if the tenants pay that, but you need to understand that the cost for that heat is likely going to be a higher burden to the tenant and may cause you to lose tenants more rapidly if they're incurring a high cost for their heat versus a more efficient heat, which might be a natural gas furnace. So understand how the basic components of the building are going to relate to your numbers and make sure you're taking that into consideration. The second thing is to know what your utilities are and what you're permitted to charge or can pass on to the tenants. So oftentimes different municipalities may have different rules, but generally you can separately meter electric and pass that on to the tenant. Some municipalities, you could have the tenant get their own trash service and allow them to pay it. Others, you as the landlord may need to pay that service to the tenant. So make sure you understand what the utilities are, what you could easily pass to your tenants. And sometimes it may be that you just institute kind of a utility bill back and divide some of that cost and charge it to the tenant as a separate flat fee. So that could be one way as well. The third thing you should understand about the building is that if you don't have a lot of specific knowledge in a certain category, make sure that you have trusted experts to fill in the gaps that you don't understand. So it's very important that you would have a contractor or provider that is someone that you absolutely trust to tell you the truth and to make sure that they're going to do a good job for the building. Because if you don't, that could certainly leave you in a world of hurt or just cost you a lot of money. So if you have an HVAC contractor who tells you you need new air conditioning units when you really don't, that of course is going to be a major expense. So make sure you trust and verify who your providers are for any gaps of information that you may have. The fourth thing is to compare quotes and know what type of quality they're providing. So you certainly don't have to know everything about construction, but if you're planning to replace your flooring, of course you're going to get several quotes, but understand what type of quality, the installation that they're putting into the project. Is it a quality flooring product that they're using? How long is it going to last? Is there a warranty? And is this going to be worth the money? So sometimes the cheapest is not always the best. So make sure you educate yourself enough just to make sure you're making an informed decision. The fifth thing is to know what's going to contribute to a low maintenance building versus a high maintenance. So you will need to become familiar with certain major components of a building and what type of maintenance they need. So for example, if you have a building that's all stucco exterior, that stucco exterior is going to need repair, it's going to need repainting, it's going to need upkeep versus a building that has all vinyl exterior. Similar thing, you're going to have to be very careful and meticulous about paying attention to any chipping and peeling paint if you have an older building that may have lead-based paint. So make sure that you understand the basic components of the maintenance that that building is going to incur and what's going to require more maintenance versus maybe a hands-off maintenance. The sixth thing to know is to really pay attention to safety measures. And this is oftentimes overlooked or lacking with a lot of owners. But the safety measures for a building not only is important from an insurance aspect, but you want to make sure your tenants are safe, obviously. But things do happen, especially when you have a lot of tenants. Fires are not that uncommon. Sometimes people will pass away inside their units. So just make sure that you understand the basic parameters of safety in the building. Do you have handrails in your stairs? Do you have proper smoke detectors, fire extinguishers where they're needed, and an emergency evacuation route should that be needed? So that's a really important component that you should pay attention to in any building that you're looking to own or currently own as a real estate investor. I hope these 6 things brought you some value as you go out and evaluate your future real estate investments. And if you're looking for more assistance in your investments, reach out to us. We're happy to help.